everybody, this is D Hunter bringing another action figure review. Today we're looking at the GameStop exclusive DC Collectibles Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ra's al Ghul and Shredder 2-pack. Now this is the 5th 2-pack they've released from this film, and as far as we know this is the final release that's going to conclude this line. I must say I hope that this line did very well, and there might be demand to get some of the mutated Bat-Rogues out there. That would be fantastic. So let's go and check out this package here. As you can see, only available at GameStop. Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ra's al Ghul and Shredder action figure 2-pack. 11 pieces. Got the DC logo on the side here. Top, Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Side, got a turtle shell. Really nothing going on the other side. The bottom, there is a barcode in case that helps anybody, but these are GameStop exclusive. On the back, you can see we got these two guys here, and the other 2 packs being Batman and Leonardo, Damian, Robin, and Raphael, Batgirl and Donatello, and the most recently released Alfred and Michelangelo. So as you can see, we've got Ra's al Ghul here. Looks like we got some extra hands and a sword. Then we've got Shredder here. Looks like a Mutagen Canister and some more hands. Maybe a Ninja Star as well. So with no further ado, let's open these guys up. And I did end up getting 2 of these packs to keep my Batman and related 6 and 7 inch collection up to date. And here is the complete collection unopened. All 6 releases, 5 2-packs, and 1 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. And then here he is taking his rightful place in front of my Batman and related comics with my other Batman and related unopened figures. You can see here's the Ra's al Ghul and Shredder pack at the bottom, followed by the other packs as they go up on the bookshelf. Alright, now that we got these guys out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. Looks like Ra's al Ghul here has a total of 4 hands and a sword, and it looks like Shredder here has a total of 6 hands, a Ninja Star, and the TCRI Mutagen. But before we look at their accessories, let's check out the actual figures. So I'm a little bit more excited for the Ra's al Ghul, considering I'm a Batman collector, and the Ninja Turtles are sort of just a bonus here. He's got that traditional Ra's al Ghul look to him. He's got that dark around the eyes. Got his little goatee thing going on here. Receding hairline. Super popped collar. Green outfit. He's got some sort of black lines on here, kind of imitating that animated look. So he's got the gold armor here, and the gauntlets, kind of like Batman has. Different shade green pants, got some boots. Here's the back of the figure. I must say his cape is great. It's a cloth cape, has a sort of border on the bottom of the back. I think it looks wonderful. The material is slightly different on the outside as well as on the inside. Really like cloth capes, and these Ninja Turtle figures have given some really nice capes to their figures. And then we've got Shredder here. My first thought is his head looks a little small on this huge chest, but I could be wrong there. I feel like his helmet's just a little too small, maybe. I don't know, it looks a little odd. He has that animated look to him big time. Definitely reminds me of the Ninja Turtles NECA animated Shredder. I don't have him, so we won't be able to do a comparison with him, but I'm liking the color scheme. He's got some of those black lines on him, also kind of imitating that animated look. He's got blades here, up top, here, looking really nice. Nice sort of red maroon color to him with the purple. More blades on his shins there. Here's how he looks on the back. And his cape, I mean, his cape is nice. Not quite as nice as Ra's al Ghul's. It's just a little more bland, purple. Got sort of that Batman edges to it. Overall, both these guys have nice capes, but Ra's al Ghul is probably my favorite in this whole line. And then here are the figures broken down as far as they can go with all their removable parts detached. So next, let's go ahead and check out their accessories. Starting off with the Ra's al Ghul's accessories here, and we'll start off with his hands. So here he is wearing his first set of hands. His left hand is pretty much open. It might be able to hold something really large. And his right hand is a little bit different. He's got kind of a gripping hand. So you can see his left hand pretty much completely open. On this hand here, his back 2 fingers are shut, and his front 2 fingers would presumably be able to hold something. Kind of makes me wonder, was he supposed to come with another accessory? Because I'm pretty sure his other standard gripping hand is intended for his sword. And while I sure don't really think this is what it was intended to be used for, he can hold Shredder's ninja star between his 2 fingers in a throwing pose, looking pretty cool. And then here he is with his other pair of hands. These are both gripping hands. Each one should be able to hold an item. So next, let's check out his sword. Kind of a stereotypical Ra's al Ghul type sword. Kind of makes you think sort of Middle Eastern. Got that sort of long side to it. And then here he is holding his sword with his right hand. Fits a little bit loose in there, but looks pretty decent nonetheless. Next, let's check out Shredder and his accessories. Starting off with his hands. Here he is wearing 2 of his fisted hands. Here he is with another pair of fisted hands. The only difference here is his blades or claws are fully extended with this pair of hands, which is a pretty cool feature. And then here he is with his semi-open gripping hands. These will allow him to hold a weapon or an item. Bear in mind, the only 2 sort of accessories that he came with, that besides body parts, would be the Mutagen Canister and a throwing star. So he doesn't really have a traditional sword or anything like that. But I like these kind of hands because they can double up as fighting fisted hands, as well as allow you to hold something. So now let's check out his throwing star and Mutagen Canister. You can pretty easily pinch this ninja star between his fingers and his thumb, and it looks pretty decent here. And then of course we've got this Mutagen Canister. As you can see, a little bit transparent in the center, TCRI. And it's a little bit different than the one that came with the Donatello 2-pack, as that one is not transparent in the center. So I'd say this one from Shredder is a little bit cooler. And let me tell you, it was not easy to get this into his hand. I really stretched his thumb and fingers out as far as I could, then sort of snuck it in there. And I will say, I'm probably never going to put it in his hand again, as it seemed like it was already scratching off some of the paint. It's one issue I've had with pretty much all the figures in this line. The hands are really tight plastic, and it does damage the paint on the accessories when putting them in there. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at their accessories, next let's check out the height of these figures. These figures are from DC Collectibles, but they're not the traditional 7-inch scale. They're a little bit shorter than that. Ra's al Ghul here sitting at just a hair under 6.5 inches, about 6.4 inches, and that's about 16.25 centimeters. And then Shredder here sitting at about 6 3/4 inches, which equals a little bit over 17 centimeters. Next, let's check out their articulation. So, Ra's al Ghul here, of course, his head can go from side to side. It can go down, really not too much, up and down about that far. Shoulders are on a ball joint, and they go out a little more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that fun stuff. His elbows are single jointed, and they go up and down. And there's a swivel at the top as well. His wrists, kind of on a ball joint, they're removable, so they can kind of rotate around pretty decently there. He has sort of an ab crunch waist swivel here. It can go from side to side. It can go in and out just a tiny bit. He's got a traditional waist swivel below that. His legs here, they would be able to go further out, but his little tunic here sort of obstructing that. They can only go out about that far. They can only go forward about that far, which is very disappointing. Back, really not at all either. He does have double jointed knees. Go back about that far. Then his feet here, they can sort of tilt, rock, rotate sort of at the same time. They don't have the traditional swivel around. And then they can go up and down pretty decently there. And now let's look at Shredder's articulation. Of course, his head, it can also rotate around, up and down, pretty much not at all. Shoulders on a ball joint, more 90 degrees out there. Up, down, around, all that fun stuff. Single joint elbows again, and they cannot go a full 90 degrees. There's a swivel at top. Same thing with the wrists, pretty much on a ball joint. They can kind of rotate all the way around. He's got a very similar ab crunch up here. Can go in and out just a hair and rotate around. Then a traditional waist swivel right below that. His legs, same kind of problem. His tunic here is obstructing them from going out very far, from going forward very far, or back. Double joint knees all the way back. And then pretty much the same thing on the feet. Really don't have the traditional rotate around, but they can tilt, rock, and go up and down as well. So next, let's check these guys out compared with some other action figures. Starting off with some other Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures, some other Ninja Turtle figures, and then some other Batman and Ra's al Ghul figures. So first of all, here they are next to the entire DC Collectibles Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collection. We've got a total of 11 figures, and I really hope this isn't the end. If you haven't seen this film, I wouldn't say it's an Oscar winner by any stretch of imagination, but it's a lot of fun. Anything you'd want to see in a Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film is included. We've got the Foot Clan, the League of Shadows teamed up together. We've got all of Batman's rogues gallery mutated with the mutagen that turned the turtles into who they are today. I mean, what else can you ask for? Awesome comedy, awesome references, awesome fight scenes. It's definitely got some violence, not completely a kiddie film by any means. I personally expect them to do a sequel. I would find it very hard to believe this movie did not do well financially. It's pretty good. Now, I don't have a lot of Shredder or Ninja Turtle figures, as my collection is predominantly Batman. But I have this Shredder figure. This is the best one ever made as far as I'm concerned. Yes, I don't have a lot to compare him to, but the movie Shredder is my favorite version of Shredder, and this one here is amazing. He's damn near a 10 out of 10 figure. You may notice he's considerably taller than the Batman vs. TMNT Shredder. Like I said before, DC Direct, DC Collectibles is normally a 7-inch scale, like this NECA figure, but these figures here decided to be about a ½ inch smaller scale. Here he is next to a couple of the movie foot soldiers from the 1990 TMNT film. And I must say, these foot soldiers are great. I love them, love the way they look. I've got 6 more of them pre-ordered at GameStop.com, so I can have 8 of them, and I'll be satisfied with my foot soldier army at that point. NECA actually has released some cartoon foot soldiers, and they're actually at Target right now. There's a 2-pack with 2 of those, which is really cool. And honestly, they fit in stylistically pretty nice with this Shredder. They're going to be a little bit taller. They're going to be the same size as these foot soldiers here. But I thought to myself, I really don't need 2 different foot soldier armies, so I'm going to stay focused on these movie foot soldiers, and I'll have them in February or whenever they get released. And here he is next to the 4 turtles from this line. And then here he is next to the Bat family members from this line. As you can see, he's a little bit bigger than Batman, which is okay. They scale up pretty nicely together. They did have some really cool fights in the film. And then here he is next to a Turtle set and Splinter from the 90s film, the NECA line. These are probably the best turtles ever made to date so far. And then speaking of the Shredder figure, these 2 NECA Predator figures, both the standard release of the Enforcer and the Ultimate release, definitely have a Shredder-esque mask. Now, this is nothing that NECA took liberties with. This is based off the comic Bad Blood. And as you can see, his mask definitely reminiscent of Shredder. I'm sure the comic creators had that in mind when they made that book. And here's the Enforcer giving Shredder one of his own Enforcer masks, thus inducting him into their clan. And here's Shredder with his new Enforcer mask. Next, let's check out Ra's al Ghul compared with some of their action figures. Here are all the Batman and related characters made from this line. Here he is next to a few different DC Direct and DC Collectible Ra's al Ghul figures. There is one DC Direct Ra's al Ghul that is absent. That is from the Trinity comics. I've actually bought a total of 3 of those Ra's al Ghuls and no longer have any as is. One is in my unopened collection and 2 I customized into other figures. And perhaps I'm getting a little off topic, but to Ra's al Ghul's left in the purple there, this is the Terrible Trio. I used the Trinity Ra's al Ghul to make Vulture. And then once again, to the left of Ra's al Ghul, we've got Zombie, Trog, and Bird. Bird here on the left, he was made from the Trinity Ra's al Ghul as well. I'd like to replace that Trinity Ra's al Ghul. He's a pretty poor figure, but I can get him for pretty cheap on eBay. I think I found him for $15 shipped the other day. And here are all the different Ra's al Ghul figures that Mattel has made, one of which was from their DC Universe Classics line, the Mattel Signature Exclusives from MattyCollector.com. That one is on the right. And the left-hand side is from the Movie Master line from Dark Knight Rises, Ra's al Ghul. And then here he is next to both the Mafex Ra's al Ghul on the left-hand side and the Soap Studios Ra's al Ghul on the right-hand side. I would highly recommend the Mafex Ra's al Ghul as a decent figure, but the Soap Studios one is pretty much garbage, definitely not worth the price. And then here are all the different Ra's al Ghul figures in my entire collection. At the front here, we've got some 5-inch smaller figures. They're from both Kenner and Mattel over the years. In the background here, we've got the Soap Studios Ra's al Ghul. We've got a custom Mattel Ra's al Ghul I made. He's my favorite of all of them. Then we've got a couple Dark Knight Rises Ra's al Ghuls, the Mattel DC Universe Classics Ra's al Ghul, this DC Collectibles versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ra's al Ghul. And we've got the Mafex Ra's al Ghul, Mafex Ra's al Ghul on a John Wick body, the DC Direct Arkham City Ra's al Ghul, DC Direct Hush Ra's al Ghul, and the DC Direct and DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series Ra's al Ghul. I'll have to replace my DC Direct Trinity Ra's al Ghul so my collection is complete again. In the film Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there was a very large clan of League of Shadows following Ra's al Ghul, as well as a huge Foot clan following Shredder. So, time to see what kind of henchmen I have to use for Ra's al Ghul. Like I said before, the current cartoon NECA Ninja Turtles Foot Soldiers 2-pack that's a Target exclusive, stylistically works out pretty good with these figures, but they're a little bit taller. I thought about getting some of those, but I thought my collection is predominantly Batman related, so I'm going to save up for that Foot Soldier clan that's going to be released in February, some additional movie Foot Soldiers. That'll be my one foot army that I need. Now I was kind of curious if maybe DC was going to make a 2-pack with a Foot Soldier and a Ra's al Ghul ninja, but it looks like that is not going to happen at this point. Here's this Ra's al Ghul next to 6 different Marvel Legends Ronin figures. These guys make for some great League of Shadows ninjas, as well as just generic ninjas if you need them for some other purpose. Here he is next to 8 different Mafex Ra's al Ghul figures. These guys are in their League of Shadows ninja outfit. These guys work great for some Dark Knight Trilogy League of Shadows members. And then here he is next to 16 of the DC Direct and DC Collectibles Dark Archer or Malcolm Merlin figures. They've made a couple different kinds, and it turned out the Dark Archer was simply in a generic League of Shadows outfit in the Arrow universe. So these guys work great for my League of Shadows army. Next, let's check them out compared with some other action figure lines to see how they fit in both scale and style-wise. Here they are next to some DST or Diamond Select Toys action figures. And here they are next to some McFarlane Toys action figures. Here they are next to some NECA figures. Here they are next to some of their DC Direct and DC Collectibles action figure brothers. These are some action figures from the same company, DC Direct and DC Collectibles, that made the Batman vs. TMNT figures. You may notice the Batman vs. TMNT figures are slightly smaller than the rest of these guys. DC Collectibles use a slightly smaller scale than their typical lines in this Batman vs. TMNT line. Here they are next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And here they are next to some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods action figures. And here they are next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here they are next to some Mafex action figures. Then here they are next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here they are next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. So overall, these are pretty decent figures. I must say I like the Ra's al Ghul a little bit more than the Shredder figure. My complaints about them: a little bit shorter than I'd like. I wish they'd fit in with the rest of my action figure collection a little better and fit in with the rest of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. I like their stylization, sort of animated look to them. I absolutely love Ra's al Ghul's cape. I think that thing is excellent. The articulation is a little bit better than mediocre, but it could be a little better. Double jointed elbows would help. And Ra's al Ghul sure has a lot of sculpting prohibiting his elbow articulation. If I were to rate these figures, I'd give Ra's al Ghul a 7 out of 10 and Shredder a 6.5 out of 10. Like I said before, they're pretty nice figures, but there's a couple things that prevent me from enjoying them as much as I would like to. I'm very happy to complete this collection. It's been a long time coming. I do hope that they find a way to expand on the collection. God, those mutated bat rogues would be excellent and just so unique, but time will tell on that. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything want to say about the video, add it to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. You might check out my other videos. I've done reviews on all the other Batman vs. TMNT sets they've released. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.